What if the biggest secret to staying young has nothing to do with expensive skincare, perfect genetics, or cosmetic procedures? What if the real fountain of youth has been hiding inside your mind all along? Think about the people you've met who are in their 50s, 60s, or even 70s, but somehow seem decades younger. They walk with confidence. They smile effortlessly. They adapt to change instead of fearing it. Their conversations are full of curiosity, hope, and purpose. Being around them feels refreshing. Then, there are people who seem emotionally drained before they even reach 50. They constantly complain, resist change, and carry the weight of stress everywhere they go. So what creates this dramatic difference? Is it money? Good luck? Perfect health? Not exactly. Psychologists have discovered something remarkable. The habits you practice every single day can influence how your brain functions, how your emotions respond to challenges, and even how young you appear to others. In other words, aging isn't just a biological process. It's also a psychological one. Today, you'll discover 7 powerful psychological habits that mentally strong, emotionally resilient people use to stay vibrant, energetic, and youthful long after turning 50. And don't skip ahead, because habit number 7 is so simple that most people ignore it, yet researchers consistently link it to greater happiness, stronger mental health, and a longer, more fulfilling life. By the end of this video, you may completely rethink what it truly means to grow older. Let's get started. The first habit that keeps people feeling remarkably young isn't found in a vitamin bottle or a fitness routine. It's curiosity. Curious people never believe they've learned everything. They wake up believing there's always another lesson to discover, another skill to master, or another perspective worth exploring. That's exactly what keeps their minds alive. Psychologists have found that curiosity activates the brain's learning and reward systems, encouraging the formation of new neural pathways. In simple terms, every time you challenge yourself with something new, you're giving your brain a reason to stay sharp. Think about it. One person says, "I've always done it this way." Another asks, "What if there's a smarter way?" That single question changes everything. People who stay mentally young read books outside their comfort zone. They learn new technology instead of avoiding it. They travel to unfamiliar places, meet different people, explore fresh ideas, and pick up hobbies they've never tried before. Even learning a few words in another language or cooking a completely new recipe tells the brain, "I'm still growing." Curiosity replaces fear with excitement. It transforms change from something threatening into something inspiring. The truth is, your brain doesn't retire at 50. It responds to how often you challenge it. The day you stop asking questions is the day life begins to feel smaller. But the moment you become curious again, your mind becomes more flexible, more creative, and more alive. Because people who stay young never stop being students. They understand one powerful truth. Growth is the opposite of aging. And the moment we stop learning, we slowly stop living. The second habit is one of the most powerful shifts you can make after 50. They refuse to let their identity become permanent. Many people don't grow old because of their age. They grow old because of the stories they keep telling themselves. "I'm too old to start over. I'm not good with technology. People like me don't change. This is just who I am." These may sound like harmless thoughts, but psychologists call them limiting beliefs. The more you repeat them, the more your brain accepts them as facts. Before long, they become invisible walls that keep you from growing. But people who stay mentally young think differently. They understand that every stage of life is an opportunity to reinvent themselves. At 50, they launch a business they've dreamed about for years. At 60, they finally learn photography, painting, or a new language. At 70, they join a fitness class or discover a passion they never had time to explore. They don't ask, "Am I too old?" They ask, "Why not now?" Psychologists describe this mindset as identity flexibility, the ability to update your self-image instead of clinging to an outdated version of yourself. The truth is, you're not the same person you were 10 years ago, so why should your identity stay frozen in the past? The people who remain youthful aren't trying to protect who they used to be. They're excited about who they can still become. Remember this. Your age is a number written on a calendar. Your identity is a choice you make every single day, and the moment you give yourself permission to grow again, your mind begins to feel younger than ever. The third habit has nothing to do with looking younger, but it has everything to do with feeling younger. They protect their inner peace. Here's something many people never realize. Stress doesn't just steal your happiness, it quietly steals your youth. Psychologists have found that chronic stress keeps the body flooded with cortisol, a hormone that can affect memory, reduce energy, weaken the immune system, disrupt sleep, and even contribute to the visible signs of aging over time. That's why emotionally healthy people are incredibly selective about what they allow into their minds. They understand a life-changing truth. Not every argument deserves a reaction. Not every criticism deserves an explanation. Not every opinion deserves your attention. And not every problem is yours to carry. Instead of wasting energy trying to win every battle, they choose something far more valuable. They protect their peace. They forgive because holding on to resentment only keeps them trapped. They let go of small frustrations before they grow into lasting bitterness. They stop chasing approval from people who will never be satisfied. And rather than spending every day complaining about what went wrong, they intentionally notice what is still going right. This doesn't mean they ignore life's challenges. It means they refuse to let those challenges control their emotional world. That is emotional maturity. And emotional maturity is one of the strongest signs of a youthful mind. Remember this. Peace isn't something you find, it's something you protect. The more you guard your inner peace, the lighter your heart becomes, the clearer your mind grows, and the younger you begin to feel, no matter what your driver's license says. The fourth habit may be the most overlooked, yet it has an incredible impact on how young you feel. They carefully choose the people they spend their time with. Take a moment to think about this. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely exhausted, even though you barely did anything? Some people constantly complain. They criticize every idea, expect the worst, and find problems in every opportunity. Their negativity doesn't stay with them, it spreads to everyone around them. Psychologists often describe emotions as contagious. We naturally absorb the attitudes, beliefs, and emotional patterns of the people we spend the most time with. That's why your social circle influences far more than your mood. It can shape your mindset, your confidence, and even your outlook on life. People who stay mentally young understand this. They don't waste their energy chasing toxic relationships or trying to change people who don't want to change. Instead, they intentionally surround themselves with people who inspire them to become better. People who laugh often, people who stay curious, people who celebrate your success instead of competing with it, people who encourage growth instead of feeding fear. Being around optimistic people doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. It means you're constantly reminded that challenges can be overcome and tomorrow can be better than today. On the other hand, if you spend years surrounded by bitterness, criticism, and hopelessness, those emotions slowly become part of your own personality without you even noticing. That's why protecting your environment is really about protecting your future. Remember this powerful truth. The people around you are either adding energy to your life or quietly draining it. Choose relationships that make you feel more alive because the right environment doesn't just change your attitude, it helps keep your mind young for years to come. The fifth habit is one of the greatest secrets to staying mentally young. They never stop moving forward. For many people, retirement is seen as the finish line, a time to slow down, step back, and simply let the days pass. But psychology tells a very different story. What keeps people mentally alive isn't having a job, it's having a purpose. Purpose gives you a reason to get out of bed with excitement instead of routine. It reminds your brain that your best contributions may still be ahead of you. That's why people who stay youthful are always working toward something meaningful. Some volunteer in their communities. Some teach their grandchildren valuable life lessons. Some finally write the book they've always dreamed about. Others discover painting, gardening, traveling, mentoring, or learning an entirely new skill. It doesn't have to be a massive achievement. What matters is having something that gives your life direction. The people who age well don't sit around waiting for life to become interesting. They make life interesting. Every new project, every meaningful goal, and every challenge tells the brain, I'm still needed. I'm still growing. My story isn't over yet. Without purpose, days begin to blend together. Motivation fades. Curiosity disappears. Time starts feeling repetitive instead of meaningful. But with purpose, every morning becomes another opportunity to learn, contribute, and create something valuable. Remember this, you don't stop growing because you get older. You grow older the moment you stop growing. Keep moving forward, no matter how small the step, because a life filled with purpose doesn't just add years to your life, it adds life to your years. The sixth habit is wonderfully simple, yet incredibly powerful. They choose laughter over constant complaining. Think back to when you were a child. You laughed without needing a reason. You found joy in the smallest moments. A funny face, a simple joke, or even a silly mistake could make you smile for minutes. Now think about adulthood. Deadlines, bills, responsibilities, stress. Somewhere along the way, many people stopped laughing as often and started worrying far more than they ever needed to. But people who stay mentally young refuse to let life's pressures steal their sense of humor. They understand that laughter isn't childish. It is one of the healthiest responses to life's challenges. Psychologists have found that genuine laughter helps reduce stress hormones, releases feel-good chemicals like endorphins, strengthens social connections, and encourages emotional resilience. It doesn't erase your problems, but it changes how your mind and body respond to them. These people laugh at their own mistakes instead of feeling embarrassed. They smile during difficult seasons because they know every storm eventually passes. They find beauty in ordinary mornings, simple conversations, and unexpected moments of joy. Most importantly, they don't allow negativity to become their default language. Complaining drains your energy. Laughter restores it. One keeps your mind trapped in what is wrong. The other reminds you of everything that is still worth celebrating. Here's a truth worth remembering. Life doesn't become beautiful because it's perfect. Life becomes beautiful when you learn to find joy in the middle of its imperfections. So laugh a little more, smile a little longer, because sometimes the most powerful anti-aging habit isn't found in a bottle or a gym. It's the simple decision to enjoy the life you're already living. And now we've reached the final habit, the one that quietly transforms every other habit on this list. Gratitude. It may sound simple, but don't underestimate its power. Most people spend their lives believing they'll feel grateful after they become happy, after they earn more money, after they retire, after life finally goes their way. But psychology reveals something surprising. The happiest people don't practice gratitude because life is perfect. Their lives become richer because they practice gratitude. People who remain mentally young don't spend every day replaying what they've lost or wishing they could go back in time. Instead, they intentionally focus on what is still present. Their health, even if it's not perfect, their family and friends, the wisdom they've gained through experience, the memories that shaped them, the opportunities that still lie ahead. Even painful chapters become valuable teachers instead of lifelong regrets. This daily habit does something remarkable to the brain. Instead of constantly searching for problems, disappointments, and reasons to worry, the mind gradually learns to notice moments of beauty, kindness, hope, and possibility. And the more often your brain looks for good, the easier it becomes to find it. Gratitude doesn't ignore life's difficulties. It simply refuses to let those difficulties become the entire story. Remember this powerful truth. The quality of your life is determined by what your mind pays attention to every day. If you train your mind to see blessings instead of only burdens, you'll discover that growing older doesn't have to mean growing bitter. It can mean becoming wiser, calmer, stronger, and more joyful with every passing year. Because when your heart stays grateful, your spirit stays young. And that's a kind of youth no calendar can ever take away. Growing older is something none of us can escape. But growing old in spirit is a choice we make every single day. Real youth isn't measured by the number of candles on a birthday cake. It isn't hidden inside expensive skincare products, cosmetic procedures, or impossible beauty standards. The kind of youth that truly lasts begins much deeper. It lives in a curious mind that never stops learning. A flexible mindset that welcomes change instead of fearing it. A peaceful heart that refuses to carry unnecessary stress. Meaningful relationships that inspire rather than drain you. A sense of purpose that gives every morning a reason to matter. The ability to laugh through life's imperfections. And a grateful spirit that finds beauty even on ordinary days. These 7 habits won't stop time, but they can completely transform the way you experience it. Because the people who seem the youngest aren't always the ones with the fewest wrinkles. They're the ones whose hearts remain open, whose minds stay curious, and whose hope never grows old. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 habits is already part of your life? And which one are you committed to starting today? Share your answer in the comments below. Your story might encourage someone else who needs to hear it. And if this video inspired you or gave you a new perspective, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future videos on psychology, human philosophy, emotional intelligence, and living a more meaningful life. Thank you for spending these moments with me. Until next time, keep asking questions. Keep growing through every season of life. Protect your peace. Choose gratitude. And remember, the youngest person in the room isn't always the one with the youngest body. It's the one who never stops growing in mind, heart, and spirit. I'll see you in the next video.